What does it look like to take a gallery from photographing the family all the way through delivering that final gallery? I'm going to walk you through my entire process right now. Hi, I'm Nasa Lee, and I'm a professional photographer and photography business coach. And I'm here to help make everything a little bit easier, smoother, streamlined for your business. Come follow along, hit that subscribe button, and get a regular dose of inspiration to make your photography business thrive. Once I get home from a session, I like to upload that gallery, but not look at it. And I am basically just doing what I call an image drop right from the card onto the external hard drive. I go from an in progress folder, I put the session date, client name in there, and I create a folder called family name and image drop. And I just drag all of the photos in there. I am copying them, not deleting them, and I won't delete them off the SD card until after the gallery is completely delivered. But well, I select them all, drag them, and then I usually go and sit down and relax with my family or watch a show with my husband. It depends on the time of day, but relaxing to let it upload. And then I may not look at it for a couple days so that I avoid having any kind of imposter syndrome or thinking through my process. But once I'm ready and back to work, I sit down and then I am going to cull my session. Now, I like to use Photo Mechanic because it renders images so quickly. So let's look through this newborn session. I'm going to peek through it. I hit 5 just to differentiate the photos. It makes them pink. You'll see the little pink dot underneath it. But I'm going through, clicking and select. I am pretty generous when I go through this first time, and then I will narrow down the gallery a little bit more as I'm editing them. But for now, I don't want to sit here and overthink and waste time in the culling process. So I'm going to zoom through this, select all the photos, and get ready. All selected, I can filter them, so I'm only seeing the images I chose, and then I am going to copy them into another folder. This one I want to do, and I call it the family name raw, and those are just the final, the gallery images. Again, I can go through and cull a little bit more later as I'm editing and seeing oh, I didn't like this one after all, but I will delete that image drop folder again once the gallery is complete, but this way I can just upload it. I can go. Usually I do this and then I go grab a cup of coffee or get the kids lunch or do something, but that is doing it. Moving photos into the folder. Again, so that I can get rid of all that extra data on my computer and not have these huge raw files. Then I'm opening up Lightroom and importing the photos. So I use Lightroom because I do use an editor, and it's very simple to do. I am going to use Imagen AI, but once the gallery is uploaded, I export that folder as a catalog, just creating those smart previews because it makes it easy to send off to Imagen AI. So I'm creating that catalog. I do it within the folder for the family name. It's not really a huge deal, and I am exporting those photos. I'm also going to peek at how many images there are so that I have that number and that information for when I'm submitting the order to Imagen AI. Before I used Imagen AI and I outsourced with a couple different editors, it was the same process. I would upload this same file, exporting these smart previews, making sure that build smart previews box is checked, and then I can go ahead and do that. It has to be fully exported, and I have to close out of Lightroom before I can load it into Imagen AI. Now, Imagen AI is a fairly new program for me. However, I am loving it because it is really quick, as in I get the edits back in 15 to 30 minutes, and it is very inexpensive and does what I need it to do. So for my style of editing, it does take a little bit of time to set up a profile, but there are also talent profiles that are built in that you could use, but I enjoy that I can do this as well. Now, again, right here, as I'm filming this, the catalog, you can see that it's not there because the file is open, but once it's done exporting, I close out of it. I'll skip backing up this time, but then I could just click recent and pull it right up. It even can see what I'm doing and not have to worry about it. Here, I'm just putting in the project name and selecting the talent profile. I'm still working on my indoor profile as at the time of filming this. So I'm using outdoor color, knowing I'll have to make a few extra adjustments, but I like that you can filter. If you want to flag images within there and only say 5-star, if you don't want to move them, you can still do that. And also I'd like to point out that it's only like 15 bucks here for 200 images in editing. Then I hit submit and it uploads, and it will take about 15 to 20 minutes. Let's see how long it takes. All right, it didn't actually take that long, but I ended up needing to be there with my family. So on to the next day. You just go right here, click download edits. It just puts it right back in that same spot and will upload or open the folder for you. So, or open Lightroom for you right into those edits. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just click download and then open the Lightroom catalog, and I'm ready to do that. Now I had a different catalog open, so it's, closing that one out, opening the new one because I was working on another gallery, but it's easy. And then see this here, I can upload final edits. So any revisions that I do, you can upload them into that and that into Imagen AI. And basically that is learning from that, from your process, and it will get even better. So here is the gallery. Now Lightroom sometimes is kind of slow for me. So I will like open it and then go do something else for a little bit to kind of let it. It might be the Imagen AI plugin, but again, because the edits are so inexpensive, like it is a great process for me. So right now I will go through the edits and see if there's any adjustments that I need to make on this gallery. I believe I adjusted the contrast a little bit. It was a little high for a newborn shoot. Isn't he so cute? But I went through, made those adjustments, and finished up the editing process in this kind of just peek through. It was pretty clean and pretty true. Didn't have to do much for this gallery at all, which is so nice. Once again, he's so cute. Makes your ovaries explode just a little bit. Okay, so now that the gallery is all done, I've gone through, kind of peeked at it, made sure everything looks good. I'm going to export these photos as a JPEG, and I run an action in Photoshop on all of my images. It is a pretty clean, basic action. It includes portraiture and adds a little extra pop into the images. So I export them into the family's gallery or folder in the same place, just keeping the whole project right there together. And then I create a new folder and I call it the family name, and they're Lightroom JPEGs. So I know that these are JPEGs, but not the completed gallery yet. I also save them by the client name. At this time, it's also easy to change them later in Bridge, but I figure might as well do it now. And then I hit export. And then once again, I can go do something else, or I will cull another session or do something while that is processing, because it's a large gallery and sometimes takes some time to export. Once it's exporting, I also will open Imagen AI back up and just close out that Lightroom gallery and then upload those final edits. Again, it's so easy, especially if you just closed out the gallery in Lightroom, because it will pull right up in Imagen AI and you can say, hey, note these changes. And once you hit a certain number of images, I believe it's 3,000, you can run it. And again, it will improve your profile that it's using to edit. So it's pretty fast, it's easy to do, and which I love. Again, it's learning from me. Now that all the photos are edited, I'm going to open them up in Bridge. And so here is the folder, and you can see what they look like. I will peek through them at this time and see if I needed to do any fine-tune editing. So this is things like cleaning up if the baby had milk around his mouth, or a little bit of flaky skin or a little scratch. I'll go through and look at them and clean up his face. I use Bridge because it is easy to go through the images, double click an image, it'll open it in Photoshop, make the changes, save and close it, and go back in. Keeping everything, again, smooth, fast, easy. It does take a while to load those images to peek through. So once again, that is why I use Photo Mechanic to cull the original gallery. But right now, I will open them in the Bridge folder and then I walk away, work on another project, do something to give them time to load properly, and then be able to go through them much faster and not have it like loading every time or looking kind of off. So right now I'm just going through, peeking through. As you can see, there's like a little speck on the baby's face. So I would just open it in Photoshop and clean that baby's face up just a little tiny bit. I found that speck to be a little distracting. Not a big deal. It doesn't take away too much. Really easy to do. And then save, close out the gallery. And then I'm going to finish going through all of these images before I prep to run the Photoshop action, which is happening right here. So I select the folder that is the Lightroom images to edit that I had exported from Lightroom. Then I go through and I run a script, which means Photoshop is going to open, edit, run my action, save, close the image into another folder, which I do it just kind of in that folder. It'll just create one, and I can pick through some of my actions, but there's one that I run on everything, clean, color, edit, which is just a basic thing that I called it. And I hit run, and then again, I walk away and do something else and let my computer run those actions. And that's it, what it's doing right now. Photoshop, you can see it's thinking a ton. It is opening an image, it is running the action, closing it. You can't really see the process that it's doing while watching it. It doesn't it kind of looks jerky, it looks weird, but it is doing it. Once that's done, I am looking through the gallery one more time and I'm selecting images from each lighting scenario that I can run black and whites on to see, because I have a few black and white actions that I have created that I like to see that work for different scenarios. So I like to pick several images throughout the gallery that gives different lighting, different connection, different moments, and test out the black and whites on them. So I open them. This time I'm going to just do what I call a batch edit. So batch editing is when you select an action and it will open, or it will run the action on all the images that are open. I'm not having it save it. I'm not having it keep it. I just want to peek at it and see. So that is what I'm doing right now, so that I can then run another script, which is the black and white. As you can see, this is the batch. It's very close, file, batch. And if you select the image from the right on the action panel, it will pull up that when you're running the batch action, which is really nice. You don't have to go through and sort. Then I just click OK. It runs it really quickly, and I can peek through and decide, do I like how these look, or do I need to start over and run my other action, or will more work need to be done? And as I peeked through these images, I think that they looked really good straight off the bat without doing anything much to them. Maybe one or two I would need to bring down some highlights later or brighten, but overall I really liked how this action looked on this gallery. But let's check all of them. Once I've checked them all and I like them and I'm set, I will then close out of the images, making sure to not hit save because I don't want it to overwrite my color images. And then I'm going to run a script action of the black and whites. This time, instead of choosing that Lightroom JPEG folder, I'm going to pick the regular JPEG, which is what Photoshop saved it in when I ran my original Photoshop color action on it. And that way it will run there. It will still, I'm going to have it save in the same place. It will just create a copy of the image and it will call it the image name with an _1 after it, which is great. So the black and white image will fall right after the color. And I select the black and white action that I had picked that worked really well. And then I click run. And once again, then I go do something else with my time. And now they're all ready. And I am peeking through the gallery and making sure that everything looks good to send to the client. At the same time, to save myself time, I'm hitting 5-star on images that I can use for a blog post or for social media posts or for a reel. So I'm selecting them as I go so that I can save those into a folder. This again is huge and time saving because I know that I have a talent release signed from the client at this time. I don't have to remember, go look up it, do I have a talent release, go dig through galleries and find the photos. Instead, they'll all be saved in a folder for me. And if you want to see that process, I created a photo. I created another YouTube video that you can see over on my channel that shows a look at how my entire process of where photos are saved. So go check that one out. As I finish up looking through this gallery, I just make sure everything looks good and nothing got missed, that it is ready for delivery to the client. From there, I will upload this up into Shootproof. That's how I deliver the gallery. And there is a desktop uploader that I can use right from my computer. Now that I'm uploading the photos into Photoshop, this is the time I use Blog Stomp. This program, unfortunately, has been changed. It's called something else, but I am resizing them, renaming them so that they are ready for me for my social media posts like I had mentioned before. And I'm doing this right at the same time because it is easy, it is saving me time and getting me ready to go. Once the gallery is sent off to the client, I design an album and send that at the same time. However, I already created a video on how I design an album and the process I use using Fundy software. So make sure you go click on that button up there and check out that video to see my design process for an album. You'll also find a video on my channel about my file organization and how I keep systems and back up my photos, keep it on an external hard drive, and what it looks like in the file structure. So go check that video out too. Thank you for watching. I am grateful you are here. Keep pushing, friend. Your thriving business is possible.